Well, hello. This is the final boss, and this is BibleX. Yeah, I'm very curious. This is a faith-based game, and as a person of faith, I'm one excited to see more games, that kind of talk about these themes and worldviews, and at least just address them. Right. The other thing, though, is I'm very curious to see how they pull it off because I, from my experience and my reading, no matter what someone believes, representing that worldview closely or talking about it directly in a piece of art is extremely difficult. It's very hard for it not to be on the nose. It's very hard for the writer or the game designer to not feel like they have to shoehorn the creative project into kind of all the beats of whatever they're kind of addressing as the theme. So in a lot of ways, it has the same issues as a lot of adaptations. I've like getting into that sort of thing, bringing worldview really front and center. I mean, I think someone's worldview is in every part of their art, but bringing it and making it the subject of their art is very difficult for it not to sound, preachy or propagandist, no matter what someone believes. Even though I think climate change is a real problem, a lot of the media and art and content around climate change kind of suffers from similar issues, right? Where they're so focused on getting others to see the worldview in the same perspective that the piece of art kind of takes the background seat. I hope that's not the case here. I'm very, very curious to try this out and see what we're in for here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I have to log in. Oh, why? Oh, come on. I don't want to log in. It's the worst. No. Register. Okay, did it open up a back? What the heck? So if I click register, okay, it opens up this gray thing. Okay. And then I need to type in a bunch of information. All right, hold on 1 second. 1 second. I'll pause this. Is it this? Okay, what's the game? Is this one here? There we go. Okay. So I'll type in all my. This is really good to see, right? Because like the first time user experience matters, and I bet I'm gonna have to. And this is what I would say for any game. I am not I'm not a fan of having to like register before having to pick my age group and having it be on the far side of that equation. It's a little it's a little humbling, Come on, man. Give me a give me someplace to retreat there, Maybe like have like, rather than 45 plus, why don't you have like, 50, a couple more ranges so I still feel young. Oh, okay. I'm 13 years or older. Pretty sure. Alright, now let's try this here. Alright. Is it gonna work? Alright, it worked! So that wasn't a super painful onboarding experience, but I still don't know if it was a necessary one, especially for a demo. I'm just trying to try your all's game here. But anyways, I'm signed in as El Final Boss. Feedback survey, that's good. I'm glad they're collecting survey information. This is a great sign, right? I click play demo. Okay, there it is. I see him, but not now. I perceive him, but not near. Star will come from Jacob. A scepter will rise from Israel. He will smash the forehead of Moab and strike down the Shethites. So that's cool. Obviously, I'll watch the cutscene, but I do have thoughts.
Welcome to my headquarters. I spend pretty much all my time here, so we might as well call it my home.
Nice, Hector. Okay,
You're more
cool.
than welcome to look around and get familiar with the place before we start.
Okay, cool. So I like short dialogue intro, just getting us into kind of the thing. I mean, obviously it's a little bit on the nose dialogue for like an intro, but better than a lot, right? Like and you'll see with it's a lot of the narrative games I review. It's not starting with amnesia. It's not starting with kind of this like fuzzy thing. But again, this is an interesting opening, but not necessarily the most engaging. The other thing I would say about the Bible verse, right? The verse from Numbers that you lead with, which I think is fine, right? But again, it's also going to narrow your audience, right? And so one of the challenges with a lot of games or any sort of artistic project that represents a worldview and says, hey, part of this project will have that worldview at its center, even if it's something about climate change, whatever. One of the risks is that you will just end up preaching to people who already agree with you, right? You'll just end up the people who want that content will generally be people who already adhere to that worldview, and you're going to be narrowing your audience's scope. I don't know what your goal is here, but I do think it's worth considering and saying, hey, look, making the game have a hook first goes a long way, right? And so to some degree, like, you know, I recommend, reading the Bible to lots of people, but it's also, it's older language. It's not modern. It doesn't have a natural hook built in a lot of places, right? So to some degree, if you do want this game to be for a broader audience, I would think about, hey, one, my first time user experience of having to sign up is a little challenging. Wow, this is really nice graphics. Look at this. Look at that. It looks like I'm staring at a wall. All right, I'm gonna go up here. Can I go in here? Okay, I guess I have to go up there. Press E to interact. All right.
Last year I was disconnected from the state power supply and left to my own devices.
Yikes.
After 2 months of my grandfather's old generator, I made my own power supply out by the stream.
Hector, I'm a little worried that I'm trapped here. Hector's voice feels very safe, like and calming, but I literally woke up in this guy's basement and he's telling me how he's like kind of off grid and a little bit scary. So food for thought. I do love like the aesthetic. Man, whoever is doing your art is doing a fantastic job. A really really cool vibe to this place. All right. Oh, I can cook. Sweet.
I like cooking, but it gets a bit boring just cooking for myself. Maybe someday we can cook something together.
Hmm. Again, dialogue's a little feels a little off, a little on the nose. So because like again, um, you know, if someone was at my house and they walked up to my stove, it would come across as kind of not natural speaking for me to say, "Oh, I like cooking. I don't like cooking for myself. We should cook together." It would be more like, "Oh yeah, grab some coffee if you want." Like that summary in dialogue. So he's saying, "Hey, he's delivering exposition in dialogue, which is fine, but that summary in dialogue is going to naturally pull us out of the scene rather than having that care. Because I mean, what is it really to say? This is all just flavor text for Hector before we meet him, right? And we see that little star up there. Um, but to some degree, I think that you can accomplish a lot of the same goals with a lot more immersive dialogue. Oh, Terra TV and Earth TV. Nice, man. Did I just climb on his coffee table? Yeah, get some. All right, I'll stop goofing around. The mouse sensitivity is a little too snappy for me. I'm gonna turn it down on my mouse, but it's a little. Whew. That's a big deal, right? Like not making sure the game is not too zippy. Because I literally played a first person. You can actually see the VOD. Oh wow, you got some. What's going on here, man? You got some gold. Got some gold around here, sir. I like these. Man, a lot of the assets here look amazing. Really, really nice. All right, I'm gonna go talk to Hector for real. Hector?
Hey, Hector, our unit is ready to help you against defaults.
Hey there, I've been waiting I'm just finishing up some final adjustments in the time machine here. I want you to travel back to a very significant event. This is going to be really crucial for us.
We're ready. Where are we going this time?
We're going to Passover in the year 33.
That Passover.
Yes, that Passover. The one where Jesus was arrested and crucified. What he did and said before these events took place, that's what we want to experience to better understand his mission in Jerusalem. This will help us to stand up to the false accusations against our faith here in Tarapolis. It won't be easy though. Remember, Jesus is not very popular among the Romans and Pharisees, and his disciples will be watching over him carefully. Try to find them and become their friend, and then maybe you'll get a chance to approach Jesus.
Hector, I'm excited. Let's get going.
Alright, I'm going to turn you into an avatar that should blend right into Jerusalem's culture. Good luck and hold on.
Okay, so because this is a demo, I think it's understandable that this won't be very evolved quite yet, right? Where you say, "Hey, look, this is your mission. You're going back to like the Passover where Jesus was crucified." Um, that's fine. I will say a lot of it still is on the
Already
nose, and
ready, Max.
oh, I thought you were ready. What am I doing? Oh, that's cool. I mean, I love the art's amazing. But yeah, I will say that a few things to think about is that again, like we haven't gotten into the game experience yet. We've gotten a bunch of lead up, and one of the challenges, right, is you know you will run the risk of coming across as like a little propagandistic, right? Where you're saying, hey, you know what? Like the world doesn't agree with us. No one agrees with us. We're proving them
Taking you so
wrong.
long.
I'm looking at your stuff, Hector. Give me a break. Um, I'm gonna mess with this computer though.
You have to be on guard the whole time, so that no D-Force agents find their way in here.
So yeah, I
Think of
mean,
it this way. They have an enormous interest in stopping what we're doing here.
this context is helpful, and I guess it's nice because it is interactive. So I think, but it's also very, very on the nose. I do think that like the thing that will make or break this game, very, very truly, is a lot of the narrative, the way dialogue is presented, the way kind of the worldview is presented, right? Like, how do you make
Just
this
checking.
a
Damage done?
game? I know, Hector. I'll be right there. But how do you make this a game that stands on its own without needing to kind of preach to the choir, right? And I think to some degree it feels like that initial intro scene where we're sort of like, hey, and obviously this is a demo, so you're hyping up the project. I do get that, and you're trying to give us like
Get
a
set. Here we go.
but yeah, I would say it doesn't. From this point, it does not feel like this is going to a broader audience, right? Like this seems like a game, made by people of faith for people of faith, which is fine. But then again, like a lot of the benefit of saying, "Hey, look, like this can be a really awesome standalone game," and also have themes that it can apply to someone's life. Those don't necessarily have to be in conflict, and it feels like they are, right? It feels like the themes are pulling away from the gameplay. The gameplay is pulling kind of you away from the themes, and I don't know if we've found that middle ground yet. So let's get some hefty loading screens here. Should have just got in here, but before I did my talking, work in progress may not represent. But yeah, I do think that the world of the game is really well evoked. It's pretty. I like the kind of like time machine and like this janky time machine, so we know that this is someone who's so like a lot of like the environmental storytelling is done well. Like, okay, I don't need the player or like Hector to tell me that, oh hey, we're on the run, we're on the down low, we're testing this stuff out, because it's already pretty evident from like, hey, he's not in some fancy lab. Like if you look at like Assassin's Creed, you're not in Abstergo, I think is what it's called. Some really glossy, very wealthy, company, you're in some dude's garage, right? And yeah, this person's a genius and has made a time machine. I don't know if it's frozen or if it's loading. I'll give it another minute here and think about it. But again, but then we verbal double, right? We say the same thing that has already been clear through the environmental storytelling, right? He says, "Oh, I can't let D something. I can't let the antagonists find out what I'm doing here. This is a big deal. They want to stop me." And you know, his position where we are already is pretty evident there. And to some degree, I already, you have to know that your player has context going into this game. So to some degree, I already know that, okay, I'm going to be probably time traveling back to like Bible times. Very similar thesis to Assassin's Creed, right? Where, I'm traveling back to Viking times or I'm traveling back to pirate times, which is an awesome game. Black Flag is an amazing game. One of my favorite games. Um, but so you don't have to retell us everything going in. I would almost encourage to like drastically trim down that Hector section and just get into the gameplay itself if you can. I'm gonna click around a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna crash my PC. Some demo games have crashed my PC before, and I'm very leery of it. I will wait. I'll go get some water, and I'm gonna come back, and then if that is the demo, that's totally fine. I just don't know if this is where the demo ends or if there is more. All right, we're going to find out. I'll give it another few seconds. But yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and summarize my overall thoughts because I don't believe they're going to change too much. So, did what we've seen of this game avoid the pitfalls of a worldview based project, whether it's Christianity, whether it's global warming, whether it's whatever, where the art is coming in to the same space as a thesis or something that is really thought out and that you want your player to take away from it. I don't think it has quite yet. I think this feels right now very geared towards an audience that already believes this, right? Like where, that already has this belief system that is ready to kind of, just continue to engage, right? I don't believe that this would probably it did like the hook is not strong enough for a general game, right? Like so again, you have to kind of evaluate it just as a game on its own. Is the hook strong enough? The intro when I'm in the basement and I'm kind of coming up, that was interesting, right? I had a sense of curiosity. I was getting led forward. But then once I get to the time machine and it summarizes essentially what I already know about the game in a lot of ways, and that drained quite a bit of the intrigue and the interest, and also Hector's dialogue was a little bit too on the nose to really have me leaning forward and wanting to get plugged in, right? Like so to some degree, this is a time machine, and I'm not just like living through my ancestors' memories like in Assassin's Creed. Why not have Hector's compound under attack when I get there, like DeFi or decentralized finance. Decentralized finance is coming to get you. No, but whatever the antagonistic force is, they could be coming in pretty aggressively, and hey, Hector sends you back, and that's that. Like the no more chances with the time machine. The antagonists have come here, and you can right through the little time machine window as it's starting to white out, you can see him getting dragged away by some antagonistic force, and maybe obviously I know you're trying to be thoughtful about your age of your audience. Like they're in the sign up you were saying, oh hey, look, like if you're you make sure you have a parent or guardian if you're under this age or whatever. Very very wise. And maybe like that type of intense content needs to get adjusted, but I do believe that there's a pretty big lack of conflict, right? The conflicts of the story were being told to me. I did not experience them, right? I was actually just walking through some guy's house until he was like, oh, yo, here's my time machine. Where was the conflict? Like, I want to experience this antagonistic force. I don't want to be told that there is one because it's just much harder to engage with something I'm told about rather than something I experience myself. So I think if I was giving recommendations, I would say try to find a way to make the story like the frame story, right? Because really, like this is just the frame for when we get to, the like the pirate or the biblical times. I'm thinking Assassin's Creed again. This is a frame story, so get in and get out quickly on a frame story. I think you kind of do. There is too little too many interactable objects. Um, make sure that that dialogue really is tuned up. It is not at a place where I think it needs to be, to accomplish, what at least I think this game wants to accomplish, which is to have like a really strong AAA game and have a worldview focus. And I think, those are going to be in conflict. It's very hard to make, you know, the rigorous decisions you have to make on a artistic project, game, book, story, narrative, anything, when kind of worldview is tied in. Um, but yeah, interesting project so far. I'm excited to see how this continues to develop. And when there is more demo, I do believe. Yeah, I don't think this. I think this is the end of the demo. That might just be worth indicating there. But I do believe this is the end of the demo. But it's a cool project. I'm excited to see what comes of it. But yeah, I do think it's still running into some of those pitfalls, and more work probably needs to be done before this is really able to stand as a quality game and hopefully also a quality expression of your worldview. So good luck with the development, and excited to see how it evolves.